Hello, my name is Yuri Kasdorp from Mouse, and we're back with another track guide, back at Le Mans. Lovely track to race at every time, but it's also a track, as you can see on the intro already, where the lines are not always very obvious. Gonna have to learn how to take the lines. I'll show you exactly how to take the lines that every fast driver does, how to take them, and where to look out for track cuts and where all of those are. As you can see, can take a lot more track and a lot of parts than we think we do. Without further ado, let's have a look and go on board and do a lap around the track. Alright, so here we are, started the lap. And a lot of the lap time on this track is about carrying the speed and knowing where the line is and where you can carry the speed and where you have to keep tight for the slowdowns. Because the slowdowns in the race is what will make or break a lot of your races. And if you can consistently be close to those, you're going to be flying. So let's see if we can show that on the lap here. Start the lap. Start of the lap, we want to be to the left side. Want to open up turn 1 as much as we can so we can brake on the right side in a straight line.
You've got about 5 laps of fuel.
Get close to the gravel on the left side there. Set up for a nice exit. As you can see already, we are going quite far off what you would normally think is the racing line. Get over the curb on the inside a bit there. Touch the rouge, we want to try to keep the speed up and especially focus on a good exit. And then on these long straights, what we want to do is we drive on the crown of the road. So we have the right line for this to never bottom out, and if you drive with the right line, so the middle of the track, in the middle of the car, you can gain a couple hundreds every single straight. And over the course of the lap, that really adds up. So I want to stay in the middle and go to the left for the braking zone. And as you can see for the chicanes, especially on the exit, you can run quite wide as long as you know where you have to get back into the track. You cannot keep that line for the whole right kink, otherwise you will get one of those slowdowns. Again, crown of the road. To the right hand side for the braking. As you can see on these exits, we really are using all of the track and then some, which you can do as long as you know where to get back onto it. And after this lap we'll go from the outside cam and then we'll really take a close look on where to do that. Go to the left side to open up the northern corner here. Try to focus on a good exit. Again, the crown of the road. We're getting to what I think is the trickiest part of the track, Indianapolis and Anash. In Indianapolis we want to open the corner up on the left side, brake a bit before the kink, and then not too many inputs when we get to the compression. Go over to the left side here. And then on this straight, we can also take the crown of the road, but it's too far, so it will be too far to go to the right. So you can run all the way on the left side here. You will put 2 tires on the entry here on the left side, on the green bit. Try to follow the inside curb. You want to use the inside grass here to get rotation in the car. Same thing here. Try to follow the inside white line, especially at the end. Get some good exit speed from the Porsche cars. Then there's only the 4 chicanes left where we have to be careful of blowdowns cutting too much. Open up the corner on the pit entry. And we go over to the right side. And that's the lap around Le Mans. Let's have a closer look from the outside cam. Right, so here we are at the outside cam. Let's have a closer look at where we can extend the track and how we need to do that. So for turn 1, you want to go to the left side here. There's no off track here. You can run all the way to the gravel without getting an off track. So we don't have to look at that for this corner. All you want to do is bring the car to the outside so that for the braking for turn 2, we can brake as much in a straight line as possible on the right side. So we open up the corner. As you can see, we're on the left side of this white line. That is not an off track. Then we bring it over to the right side. If the car wants to understeer a bit here, a small lift here won't hurt your lap time too much. It's better to lift a bit and brake in the straight line, have the car settled, than to understeer a bit wide and having to brake not in a straight line. Then we bring the car to the right side. I try to brake just before the white line. And again, as much in the straight line as we can. This white line here, so the track, what normally would be track limits, we can ignore that. We can just run all the way to the grass here without getting an off track or a slowdown. So if we're allowed to do that, we want to do that because we want to open up the Dunlop chicane. So we brake on the right side and then we aim for the inside on the anti-cuts, and we aim for our left wheels to be close to the gravel. If you clip the gravel, you will get a slowdown, and the slowdown here will be costly. So what we want to do is we want to get close to this gravel without actually touching it. So like we're doing here. And then we want to set up the exit for the chicane well. Meaning we want to exit from this left-hander at least in the middle of the track. If you exit too far to the right side, we're going to sacrifice the speed coming out of the chicane. So we want to sacrifice this a bit. And then turning right, we want to be at least on the left side of the track. And that opens up the next right-hander nicely. Then for the inside here, it's really tricky to find exactly where the slowdown is. There's also a slowdown on the inside. It's roughly when your left side tires are on the white line on the left side here. I find it's quite tricky to notice that from inside the car though. So I try to keep a bit more leverage room on the right hander than the first left hander, because there's a nice point to aim for with the gravel on the left hander. Then for the exit, we want to aim with the middle of the car for these rubber flap fees. So if you look from here, the first one here is closer to the track than the second one. So what I want to aim for is that I'm going towards the outside, kind of parallel to the line where these two are. So the off track, which is a slowdown here as well, starts straight with this white line on the left until this one, and then it goes towards the outside to the second one in a straight line. That means that after this one we can run wider on the curb. How does it look like? Just run to the outside here, and then from that point, from the second one, we can run on the left side of the white line again without getting the off track. And the next bit is a bit more straightforward. We just want to bring the car to the right side here. Again, brake in a straight line as close to this white line to the grass as you can. If you clip the grass here, you're going to overshoot the corner, so leave a bit of safety margin in the race if you struggle with braking exactly at the same point on the grass here, because again, a mistake is really costly. We go down 2 gears, and then we just try to get to the inside curb just after it starts and follow the inside curb. Once we're here at the inside curb, there's a nice bit of banking. We should be able to go back into the throttle. I understeered a bit wide here, which made the kink towards the right side here not completely flat. Normally you want to take the left-hander in such a way that the right-hander is just about flat. Then we can run over this curb on the last bit here as well. So the last bit we can run over the curb, not here already, but the last bit you can run over the curb to make this a bit easier to go flat. As you can see, I understeered a bit wide on the left-hander, so I couldn't quite go completely full throttle. I had to lift a tiny bit, which cost me a bit of time. Then we get to Tête Rouge, and Tête Rouge is really important because we got a really long straight afterwards. That means we want to have a really good exit from this corner. I keep it in 4th gear, brake a bit before, and once I'm at the inside curve here, or even before, again I want to build up the throttle already again. On the inside, the left side tires have to be on the white line. If you go inside the white line, you're going to get a slowdown. Again, the slowdown here is going to be very costly because there's a really long straight, and you're not just going to have to wait 1 second. but your exit onto the whole straight will be slow. Then, on the exit of the corner, all of this, no matter how far you go off the road, all of this square here, from here to here to here to here, all of this is track. This is not an off track. As long as at the end of this curve on the outside here, so at this bit here, the middle of your car needs to be to the right side of this. As long as you do that, so like I'm doing here, the middle of the car is to the right side of this. As long as I do that, I do not get an off track or a slowdown. So that means if you understeer a bit wide here, you do not have to look for the white line or even the curb. You can go all the way to this as long as you make it back at the end of the curb on the drainage with the middle of the car. You don't want to use all of that, because if you're running super wide here, then you're going to have to slow down for the exit anyways. But you can run it a bit wider than I did on this particular run. Then we got the big straight. Again, as I said, if you run on the crown of the road, you're going to get an extra couple hundredths of a second. So you want to run on the middle, one side tires on the left, one side on the right. Get towards the next corner. We want to make use of this as long as we can. Get to the left side as late as possible while you're still comfortable making the braking in a straight line for the next corner. So bring to the left side. I brake just after the hole in the barrier here, quite a bit before the 100. And what I aim for is that I'm braking either straight or already pointing towards the corner a bit. So as you can see here, I'm pointing towards the corner a bit already, and I want to just about clip this cone on the left side. If you just about clip this cone on the left side, you know that you're on a nice line into the corner. So as you can see, close to the corner, just about clip it. On the right side here, once we start turning in, we go off the brakes a bit to turn more. And you want to be with the left side tires close to this curb. Again, the white line here is useless. You need to be with the left side tires close to the curb. If you clip the curb with both tires, there's a very, very small safety margin, but usually that means you're going to get a slowdown. Then the same thing on the left side. Want to make sure we set up a nice exit. The white line here again is useless. We want to make sure that the right side tires are close to the curb. The same again, if you just about clip the curb, there's a very small safety margin, but usually it means a slowdown. And then on the exit, we can run all the way wide, close to this wall on the right side here. And if you would show or just look at this picture without knowing where to go on this track, you would for sure think this is going to be an off track. But again, just like in Tetcheroos, the off track only starts in the middle of this curb somewhere, which means that we can run all the way to the outside tire wall here, as long as on the middle of the curb somewhere we're back into the road. The problem is that there's no real marker here, or at least that I know of, in the middle of the curb where you have to be back on track. So what I like to do is just run it in a straight line here and make sure that when the curb starts, I'm as quick as possible with the middle of the car again on the left side of where the middle of the curb is, which looks a bit like this. So at this point, as long as the middle of the car is again back on the left side of this edge of the curb, you're fine. And we get the next straight. Again, we just run in the middle. Go to the right side as late as we can while still having straight line braking. Want to brake just before the 100 here. Bring the car over to the left. Again, this cone we barely want to clip or get close to clipping. This time I barely clipped it. You want to bring two tires on top of this curb here. Not too much of the car. Again, this white line here, just like in the first chicane, we don't really look at it. We look at the curbs. Want to set up for a good exit. Same thing in the middle here. Want to be close with the left side tire to the curb without touching it too much. It will be a slowdown. And then on this exit of the chicane, we can run all the way wide, all the way to the grass here on the left side. And again, this is not an off track. And in this case, there's a bit of a marker on the curb. And to show this better, we'll go through the onboard cam. As you can see, the curb here is a tiny bit higher. It has an edge to it. And here it's lower. The marker I use for that is this bit here. And I try to place my right tire on the lower part and the left side tire to the left of this higher part. And then I kind of use this as a track to get back into the road. I think at this point here, where the curve gets higher again, if you're still not on the track, you're going to get a slowdown. As long as you put the right side tire on the exit on this side, the left side tire on this side, you can use all of this road on the exit without getting a slowdown. So that looks like this. Place this bit here, so the race bit in the middle of the car when you go off. And if you do it right, with most cars you won't bottom out. I have had it in the past with some cars in a certain angle. For example, the Mercedes, it can bottom out on this higher bit. So the middle bit here. If it does bottom out for you with the setup that you're running, you're going to have to put the left side tire to the left side of this and just get back to the track a bit earlier. If it doesn't, put it in the middle of the car and get off the track like this. You should still be easily taken flat out. And on the straight here, you can just run wherever you want. It will not be an off track. And crown on the road. Touch your rouge again. We want to make a straight line braking as straight as possible here. Means that we want to almost clip this curve from the left hand side. How does it look like? We go to the left hand side here. Turn a bit before the braking. So I like to do my turning here so that when I'm braking, I can hold the wheel almost straight. I brake just before the kink here and I try to aim again with the left side of my car close to this cone to open up Mills-End corner. So we're braking to the left side here and then we get to the inside. The off track here, so the slowdown here is if you clip the right side green bollards, so you want to aim to be close to the right side green bollards. Again, the line here is not what we aim for. It's not that important to be super close to the off track here though. What's most important is getting most of the braking done before the corner, not overshooting this, so that when you're at the apex, we can be on throttle and set up the car for a good exit. You run wide to the left side here, barely clipping the gravel on the left side is fine. Again, we run all the way over the curb, it's fine, there's no off track here as long as you don't clip the gravel too much. If you do clip the gravel too much, in this case it will be an off track, not a slowdown. So in qualifying it will be a big punishment. In the race it won't be that big of a punishment as a slowdown would be. The longest straight of the track should get the highest top speed at the end here. It goes a bit down as well. And then we get to the trickiest corner combinations I think of the whole track. Indianapolis and Arnage. On the entry, we want to be placing the left side tires barely on this green bit. The off track is if the middle of the car is on this green bit, I think. So the left side tire is barely on this green bit. We want to tap the brake a bit before we get to the kink. And while we're in the kink, because of all the compression, the front gets compressed first before the rear. The car tends to be quite snappy. So we want to brake beforehand. And then when we get to the kink here, not have any inputs or not too many inputs, and that will keep the car stable. And what we want to aim for is exiting the kink on the right lane here. If you go all the way to the left lane, you'll struggle getting a good entry into the second part of Indianapolis. So what we want to aim for is exiting on the right lane and then braking again. Try to brake in a straight line once we're out of the kink here. And then we brake towards this curb on the right hand side here. If you can hit this curb or get close to hitting the curb, you know you did the first part of Indianapolis right. If you end up in the middle of the track here somewhere, you know you need to go a tiny bit slower and sacrifice the entry a bit more to get a good run through the second part of Indianapolis. Go down to second gear. We can clip the curb on the inside here or run along the edge. Both things work. On the exit, we run with the middle of the car and the edge of this curb, so we can run a bit through the gravel. That's normally the line most people take. Then we got Arnage, and Arnage is the slowest corner on the track and also probably the trickiest. With some cars we can run over this curb on the left hand side. With some cars you're going to want to brake along the edge here. The Ferrari is quite high, it takes the curb quite well, so I'm running over it. The braking point is tricky because we do have a 50 marker here, but if you go from the onboard, you can see if we get here, I like to be looking at the corner already. And if we're looking at the brake marker when we brake here, I struggle to really hit a nice line into the corner. So I try to brake on feeling a bit before the 50, but not look at the 50 anymore, because if you're still looking at the 50 here, it's tricky to get a nice line into the corner in front. We're braking just before the 50 in a straight line, and then when we get over the curb, The moment you go over the curb, you want to release the brakes. So the moment we're going over the curb, you want to release the brakes to make the car go stable over the curb. Get towards the inside, get the car rotated, again focus on a good exit. The exit here is just getting as close to the tires as you possibly can. Then again, we just keep to the left side of the road. The crown of the road here doesn't give enough of an advantage. Just keep the left side of the road. Again, there's no off track here. We can run wherever we want. Then we got the entry to the Porsche cars. Again, just like in Indianapolis. Left 2 tires on this green bit here. Go down 1 gear. You want to brake so that we start getting towards the inside, towards the apex, just after the curb starts. The right hand side. So a bit like this. Want to keep the speed up. So we exit around the middle of the track here. So the middle of the track, not too far to the left hand side, because then we sacrifice the left hander too much. And ideally you want to take the left hander flat. The thing is that for the left hander, if you keep it flat, all the weight will be on the rear of the car. The fronts will be struggling for grip. So how do we get the rotation in the car? We try to clip the left grass here. And it might sound like it will upset the car a lot, but again, because we just keep it flat out or almost flat out, all the weight will be on the rear of the car. And all it will do is slow down the inside a bit more, so it pulls the car towards the inside, which will get us the rotation we want to keep this flat. So you run all the way over the grass here. There won't be an off track, even if you get your right side tires onto the curb here. The off track is quite far. You can see I clipped the curb here, no issue. And as long as we get these left side tires on the grass, we get that rotation that will allow us to keep a lot more speed through this corner. And get close to the wall. Even if you have a bit of more rotation left, try to get close to the wall to open up the second part. Just go off throttle a bit, and you want to clip this bit of grass before the curb starts here. And again, what it will do is just give you that extra bit of rotation. In this case, you don't want to go to the left side of the curb, because the off track on the second part is a lot earlier. So you want to clip the bit of grass beforehand without clipping the grass on this part too much. We want to not use the right side here of the. It is kind of runoff. We want to be on the left side of the white line to keep a nice speed on the right hander. You can take this without getting the off track if you understeer it. But what we want to do is brake quite early and try to follow the inside here as much as we can. So we want to follow the inside, and the most important thing is that before the left hander, we're on the right side again on this right side white line. We tap the brake a tiny bit, get the car rotated to the inside, and what's really important here is get the car rotated early from the outside, and we want to go over the curb bit, and even if you get a nice rotation like I did here, over the grass a bit, and that way we can go into the throttle really early without understeering right. There's a bit of off camber here, and if you miss that inside curb here, you're gonna really struggle to keep it within track limits on the exit. And the track limits on the exit here work the same way as they do in Tête Rouge, where all of this is track exactly until here, where the middle of the car needs to be at the left side of this point. So if you understeer, you can use all of this. Just make sure you're back at this point. Then we only have the 4 chicanes left. What we want to do here is open up the track as much as we can, and we can use the pit entry for that. So we're coming from the right side here. Again, aim your car towards the curb already, meaning that you're not still going to the right side when you have to start braking. The car should already be pointing towards the left again, and brake in a straight line. And you want to aim for your outside tires to be close to the curb every time. If you clip the curb with the outside tires, you're going to get a slowdown here as well, and it's going to be very costly because the slowdown will start going up the more corners you take with it. So the outside tire close to the curb on the left hander. Same thing here, the outside tire is close to the curb on the right hander. What we want to do again is keep to the right side of the road here. If you go too far to the left, you're going to have to sacrifice the second part of the 4 chicanes too much. You want to aim to get close to this curb on the right side when we start turning in. You don't have to clip it. Again, tap on the brake again. Right side of the right side tire should be close to the curb on the left side. And then this right hander we can go over a lot. without getting the slowdown. So as you can see, we can left side tires, clip the curb here without getting the slowdown, just going over it. The slowdown will be, I think, if you have the left side tires all the way onto this red anti-cut. But by the point you're doing that, you're just losing too much time because the curb is too high anyways. So just want a nice line over this anti-cut here. And we completed the lap around Le Mans. Right, so there we go. Another nice track guide done around Le Mans. With these nice lines, should be able to gain some time, hopefully. Once you know the track, once you know where to go, it's a lot of fun racing. Just make sure to avoid the slowdowns. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and see you next week.